Singapore authorities intend to designate the organization running the country's labour movement as a politically significant person under a law to counter foreign interference that's given its close ties with the ruling People's Action Party. Analysts say the move should be seen as a preemptive step to protect the National Trades Union Congress from foreign influence. Jeraldine Yap with more.
Sibling organisations. That's how Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong once described the ties between the National Trades Union Congress and the ruling People's Action Party. For years, NTUC has formed a tripartite partnership with the government and employers to champion workers in Singapore. Its senior leadership is made up of several political office holders and MPs. This close nexus and symbiotic relationship between the two is why authorities want to designate the NTUC as a politically significant person. As a designated PSP, NTUC must make annual disclosures on foreign affiliations and political donations that it receives and accepts of $10,000 or more. It has 14 days to submit representations. If confirmed, NTUC will be the third organisation to be designated as a PSP, following human rights groups Marua and Think Centre. Analysts say the move shouldn't be seen as suggestion that there's foreign interference in NTUC, but rather a safeguard from the risk.
If you look at NTUC, they really have a scale that is beyond a lot of other organizations. And they also have that close political linkage with the ruling party of the government, which is the PAP. So this is pretty unique also that they are being designated as a PSP. Clearly, it wouldn't be for the purposes of punishing them or something, but because it's meant as a protective measure.
They add that the timing of the announcement should also not be seen as tied to any political timeline.
The FICA provisions relating to the politically significant persons came into force only at the end of last year. So I would say that the timing may just reflect the time needed for the registrar in MHA to assess the suitability of NTUC as an organization for designation as a PSP, rather than any new risk factors that may have emerged. So in the same vein, I don't think the upcoming general election is necessarily a factor because there's no suggestion of any attempted foreign interference.
The analysts tell me that we can expect to see more organizations being designated as PSPs in future, and putting in place preemptive measures against foreign interference would help to build trust in these organizations within Singapore that they are free of foreign influence. NTUC Secretary General Ng Chee Meng says the organisation will continue to ensure operations remain free from foreign influence. He adds that NTUC will review the requirements for the designation process and continue to better workers' lives and livelihoods. Singapore's Manpower Ministry says that NTUC's activities have been in compliance with the Trade Unions Act, and it will continue to work with NTUC as a key tripartite partner.
Responding to media queries, the Home Affairs Ministry says the NTUC's designation as a PSP applies only to the entity and not as affiliates. That is, as these affiliates are separate legal entities and have much less or no nexus to Singapore politics. NTUC's personnel, including its employees and Central Committee members who are not politicians, are also excluded. Some of its appointment holders are already PSPs by virtue of their roles outside the organisation, such as MPs. Now, on the timing, it says it is designating NTUC now as the foreign interference laws only came into force in December 2023. And the ministry needed time to consider and assess many issues. Let's take a look at the history of NTUC and its close ties with the ruling People's Action Party over the years. In 1961, the former Singapore Trades Union Congress split into the pro-PAP National Trades Union Congress and the leftist Singapore Association of Trade Unions. The NTUC was formally registered in 1964 with 48 affiliated unions and about 85,000 members. Post-independence laws were changed to reduce the trade union's power, for example, by making it illegal for workers to go on strike. In 1969, NTUC decided to take a more cooperative stance. through working with the government and employers instead of adopting a confrontational policy. About a decade later, the relationship between the NTUC and PAP was formalized when then Secretary General Lim Chee On was appointed to the cabinet. And since then, every NTUC Secretary General has been a cabinet minister, with the exception of incumbent Ng Chee Meng. Today, there are 8 MPs who are from the Labour movement, and they include Senior Ministers of State Desmond Tan and Heng Chee Hao, who are Deputy Secretary Generals, as well as nominated MP Jin See. Now, the Labour movement's annual May Day rally has also become a major political event where the Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister makes announcements on related policies.